Okay, I do know that I want to have a shell on the front and the shell on the back of this. So the first one I'm going to do on the very front, and I'm going to use the forms that are already here, and I'll extract that from the character. So I'm just going to use the masking technique. So let's hold down Control, and we'll make a shape that'll be for the front of this. And sorry, I just want to make sure I don't have touch turned on my screen and that was interfering with anything. So let's just go ahead and draw this out. Again, we can just draw directly on here holding down Control. If you hold down Control and Alt, you can subtract away from this. And if you want to draw it back within here, if you hold down Control and click on the screen, you can invert the mask. If you want to tighten it up, you can hold down Control and Alt and click on it. And if you want to smooth it, Control and click on it. So that will give us our shape. And let me refine it just a little bit more like that. And I think I'll be pretty happy with that. So we can go to the subtool area and we can go to extract and we can hit extract, take a look at the thickness of this. It's just a preview. I would like this a bit thicker, so I'll do 0.075. Let's try that and see how thick that is. That's a bit too thick. So 0.05, extract. And I think that looks pretty good. I'll accept it, and that'll make a new object. It is on solo, so that's why I kind of hid everything else like that. I'll just rename this front shell. Like this. It's going to put a mask on there, and then it's going to allow me to do this polish by feature. Again, if you hold down Control on here on my interface, you can see where this sits. It's under deformation, polish by feature, and I took off the this little tick in the center of this donut hole shape, and that's going to make it a lot stronger. You can see it's going to like really polish up those edges. I'm going to hold down Control and then do this, and it'll change the surface a bit on us, which is fine. Now, if I don't really want it that thick, I can just move the shape in and push it within here like that, just a little bit. I'm going to turn this into Dynamesh immediately. So I'll go to Dynamesh and I'll put this at 500 and use that as a starting point and just click Dynamesh to turn it on. And if I hold down Shift, I can kind of smooth on that a little bit. Let's just use the polish, and I'll polish it out a little bit. Just run that maybe full. And then hold down Control and then just remesh, and you can see that'll be a nice beginning shape for this this part of the stomach. So pretty happy with that. If I want to tweak it at all, I can put it on the move, and so I've got it in the move brush, and I'm just going to move this down just ever so slightly. So this is it's just changing the design ever so slightly, but you know, this is part of the process. If we are basically designing on the fly, you're kind of doing a little bit of concepting sculpt at the same time, so nothing's completely set in stone, so you get to kind of change the design around a little bit. Okay, so I think that's going to work okay for the front part. I'll go ahead and go, I don't want to hide that Z-sphere part, I don't want that on there, and I'm going to append a sphere 3D at this point, and I'll take this and I'll move it in the back. So I just went off to the side like this, and if you use this, it'll just move it based off of screen space. So I can rotate this back this way. I'm going to scale it up, and I'm going to scale this in, kind of like that, and I'll scale it in this way as well. So this will help me kind of position this and get this shell roughly where I want it to be. I think that's going to be pretty good for right now. So now I'm going to just take the move brush and I'm going to tweak this a bit. And I got to polish this, or I can do polish by feature, turn this off, and then I'll really polish it out quite a bit. And I'll mirror and weld. If I got it off symmetry, what I really should do is just probably turn this now into Dynamesh. And so let's put this at 500, like that. Click Dynamesh, and I'll smooth this out a little bit. Just do this polish by feature. That should really smooth it out. And I think, let's see here, mirror and weld. tap X for symmetry. I think I want it a little bit larger towards the bottom than the top, like this. And so you can see this is going to have to fit around the character. So what I'm going to do to kind of work with that is this. I'm going to take clay tube, and I'm going to push in through here. Like that. And I'm going to push in through here like this. And then I'll polish just a little bit and then remesh. So I know this is going to be super, super rough, and that's fine. I don't really need this much geometry. I can tell that this is too dense for what I want to do at this stage, so I'm going to drop this down to, let's do 128, like what we're doing with the Dynasphere at the very beginning. So this will work pretty well. Now I can do the polish by feature, and it's going to be really, really strong. Use the Damien standard, and then just start carving into this a bit more. And then remesh. Just like this. I'll kind of go around the shoulders a little bit. So I am trying to get some separation between the part and the character. But I don't need tons and tons. Hold on. I'll hit Alt S. That's my hotkey for the solo. And I really just don't need all this in here. So I'm going to hold down Alt with clay tubes and just start digging into this, and then digging this away, and then remeshing some. Like this, hold down that, and then just drag this, remesh. So I know this is kind of messy, but I'm just trying to knock this stuff out really kind of quickly. If we go too thin, you'll get some holes in your Dynamesh, and you can just hold down Shift and then remesh. So you might have encountered that at other times. I'm just not being careful, so it's causing problems, which I'm just basically gonna smooth all that out. I could use a trim dynamic and knock some of this back. So if I want to do that, that might be possible. Maybe that's a better option for knocking some of these big shapes back kind of quickly. I've got a big bunch of geometry right there. So we could, we could use like booleans to knock this stuff out too. So there's a lot of different methods. I'm just not, maybe I'm being a little lazy with things. I don't know. Sometimes you can just work and chew through things a little bit quicker. It's not super crucial. Okay, so we got that. I think that's working pretty good. Now I can move this in a little bit closer to the character's body. Kind of like this. And I'm pretty close to being happy with this shape. I want a little bit more weight down here on the bottom. I do want to check this from this part. If I do want to see part of the shell kind of sticking out, Okay, so I think this is pretty good. I'm going to get rid of my mask on there and then just do a real quick BPR render like that. And let's go here. I'm going to call this rename back shell. And then I will also add a shape. Let's go ahead and append a sphere, and we'll call this an eye. And so I'll take this sphere, I'll push it up right here, scale it down, get it right up in this area, right up in here. And I can start to do the work of replacing what I see in here with an actual good sphere. Let me mirror that, and I'll do a mirror and weld. And I think I've got something pretty good going on here. So this is, I'm probably going to, I know I'm going to tweak this eye a bit more, but I think this is pretty good for this stage and being able to kind of get everything kind of set up for the different parts and pieces that I'm going to be working with. Okay.